If I ever get the bright idea to start doing an office remodel at the start of October ever again, just please tell me not to. This has become way too much of a project. I don't have any time. The office, it's not very festive right now. It's not going to get very festive. Probably till November. I bought stuff. I have so much to put up. But so little time. What have I done? Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters, and welcome back to another recommendation list. Yes, this time, 5 films you should watch before seeing Terrifier 3. Yes, baby, we are in Terrifier week. It is happening. I'm so excited. I cannot believe all of the opportunities that we have been given, and I cannot wait to share them with you. But the biggest thing I can't wait for is that fucking Thursday night. I cannot wait to sit there in a big, crowded theater and just witness what Damien, Leone, and team have cooked up for us in this newest installment. With that said, as some of you know who are returning to the channel, if there's a movie I'm excited for, there's a pretty good chance I have some films to recommend to go along with your viewing experience, to kind of get you a little bit more hyped up or kind of hold you over until opening night. So as always, just keep in mind that this is specifically my list. These are my recommendations. You may have different films, and I want you to share them. Let me know down in the comments, what would you watch before sitting down to check out Terrifier 3? Obviously, we're going to be talking a little bit about All Hallows Eve, Terrifier, and Terrifier 2 down there. That's not the point. These are different films to get you excited. And of course, if you like this video, if you like the recommendations, or if you don't, hit that like button, leave a comment, and yes, please hit that subscribe button, guys. We are on our way to 10K subs, and I really believe that we can get there by the end of October. You guys absolutely blew this channel out of the water. I said 7K by the end of October, and you took us all the way to 8 and almost 9. So let's get to 10K. Let's cross that boundary together, and I promise we'll do something super duper special to celebrate this monumental milestone. So without further ado, let's hop into this list. Drawing first blood, and at the number 5 spot, we have 1986's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. A radio host is victimized by a cannibal family as a former Texas Marshal hunts them down. Oof, we are starting off hot with a controversial take. Yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a film that I have a big soft spot for. This movie is literally nothing like the first. The first film is one of my coveted all-time favorite horror films. This movie is nothing like it. It is wacky. It is wild. It is everything that the other film was not.
Good night. Good night.
And I kind of love it for that. Now, does it stand toe-to-toe with Texas? Not really. No, not at all, actually. But it's kind of its own animal, and that's why I think that this list, more so than any other, is appropriate for it. Because when we look at the Terrifier franchise, we have an elegant blend of not just over-the-top slasher gore and violence, but a lot of dark comedy in there too. Art the Clown, with his mannerisms, his emotes, everything that he does has this kind of comedic tinge to it, an over-the-top insanity that I also think follows into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. We have the great, wonderful addition of Bill Moseley in this one as Chop Top, who is one of my favorite horror characters. He's such a weirdo, he's so out there, and I think that he is a wonderful addition to the Sawyer clan. Now, going forward through the film, I can totally understand if people are like, no, this isn't for me. Because, yeah, Tobe Hooper went balls to the wall with all the comedy, with all of the self-referential bits, and just really taking this to, again, a very strange place, and I love it for that. I think that it's weird, it's out there. They really build off of what was this low budget, kind of effective cult classic, and then they kind of jump scale it to what would this movie look like if Tobe Hooper got to come back with a big budget and really rip into some folks. And believe me, they do. The opening sequence with them cutting up the two guys who are just prank calling the radio show, it's insane, man. Like, this movie is wild. And like I said, it has those same familiar comedic beats that you find in a Terrifier franchise film. And I love it for that. And I think that if you're wanting to sit down and watch something that, is intense, but also has a lot of comedy to it and a lot of zaniness like the Terrifier films, this one might be perfect for you. If I lost you at number 5, let me pull you back in with number 4. And of course, I'm going to be talking about 1987's A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. A psychiatrist familiar with knife-wielding dream demon Freddy Krueger helps teens at a mental hospital battle the killer who is invading their dreams. I knew on the onset of this list that I wanted to include a segment or a film from the Nightmare on Elm Street series. It only makes sense. I mean, Art the Clown has some exceptionally strange supernatural abilities, and I mean, Freddy Krueger is basically the king of supernatural strange horror. We never really know what his power limits are as we go through the series. And Art the Clown, we don't know anything about his supernatural abilities other than what he's willing to show us. So I thought that the two really went hand in hand together. I'm not the only one who thinks that, because Damien Leone has often compared his supernatural creature to Freddy Krueger. And Dream Warriors just makes sense here. I mean, not only do we have the mental hospital angle, which we are going to be getting back to in Terrifier 3, but we also have a really stellar cast with the likes of course, Heather Langenkamp, and then Patricia Arquette in there, Robert Englund, and Lawrence Fishburne as well. So I really think that this film is, and by many standards, one of the greatest horror films of all time, and of course one of the best that we have in the Elm Street franchise. Interesting kills, interesting setting. I don't think you can lose by sitting down and watching this, because at the end of the day, it does take what was a familiar formula that we had from the first and second film that we started to kind of get into a little bit of, just like, oh, it's going to be teens getting killed by Freddy. No, we're going to change that a little bit. We're going to give the teens an opportunity to fight their way out of this. And I thought that was super cool. And of course, Dream Warriors is an absolute banger and one of, again, the best slashers that you can sit down and watch if you just want to see pure creativity on screen. I recommend you check this one out before you see Terrifier 3. It's a really good time if you've never seen it, or if it's been a while, give it a rewatch. Taking a stab and landing itself in the number 3 spot, we have 2024's Stream. The Keenan family's simple weekend getaway turns truly into a vacation to die for, as 4 deranged killers playing a sadistic game lock down their hotel and compete for the most creative murders of all the guests. Definitely our most modern film on this list. I wanted to include Stream not only because I had a great time with it, seeing it just a couple months back, but this is certainly in the wheelhouse of Terrifier, like literally in the same house. Fuzz on the Lens Productions helped produce and make Terrifier 2 and 3, and the director is Michael Levy, who also was, punished, I guess you want to say, murdered, brutalized by Art the Clown in the very first Terrifier. So yeah, there's a lot of shared DNA between this film and the Terrifier franchise. And I think that this movie is just a buttload of fun. More people need to check it out, and it's going to be hitting streaming here very soon. I believe October 15th it comes to Amazon Prime. So it's totally worth your time if you're a Terrifier fan. I think that the setup, although a little long in the tooth at times, really lays the groundwork for a fun, interesting, and Very, very gory film going on after. And, of course, probably the main draw for many of you, yes, David Howard Thornton does appear in Stream as one of our titular killers. But beyond that, again, this has a very interesting, large-scale cast, especially when it comes to legacy characters and legacy actors, that they actually take advantage of and use. So it's not like they're just popping up for brief cameos. A lot of these people have pretty good-sized roles, and that was very, very encouraging and a little bit of a breath of fresh air when it comes to seeing our legacy actors on screen. Now, really, the main purpose, other than this being the kind of sister film to the Terrifier movies, is the gore. It's all done by the great Damien Leone and his team, so you know that you're going to get some Terrifier-esque kills with all of the unrated, non-stop, gory goodness that you expect from a Terrifier film. So this is one I would definitely seek out to see before you check out Terrifier 3. Again, if you can't find it or it's not playing near you until the 15th, definitely give it a watch after you go see Terrifier that weekend. Taking an axe to our number 2 spot, we have 2010's Hatchet 2. Mary Beth escapes the clutches of the Bayou Butcher, Victor Crowley, and returns to the swamp with an army of hunters and gunmen, determined to end Crowley's reign of horror once and for all. We talk about this all the time on this channel, and for good reason. Art the Clown has pretty much been one of the very few but only icon to really hit icon status when it comes to the horror greats. He is somebody that you can kind of take up there with Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. I mean, the dude has just really swept the landscape as far as merchandising, excitement, popularity. People see him and they know who Art the Clown is. Now, with that said, we do have a few other contenders, like, of course, Sam from Trick or Treat, who's kind of had this underground love, other than the folks over at Spirit Halloween, who are always stocking up with Trick or Treat merch. There isn't a whole lot of mainstream appeal for him as of right now. But boy howdy, the one that I think got shafted the most is Victor Crowley from the Hatchet franchise. My God, if you have not seen or revisited these films in a while, and you're talking about Terrifier being one of the goriest and gutsiest films you've seen in a long time, do yourself a favor and rewatch the first and second Hatchet especially, because Victor Crowley lays waste to some of these folks, man. Like, especially here in number 2. I add this one on here because of the sheer body count that you get from this, and it is absolutely insane what Adam Green and his team were able to put on screen back in 2010 with this uncut and unrated gem. I mean, I adore the Hatchet franchise. I think that the first 2 especially are just some of my favorite summer slashers, but I think that there's so much to love out of this franchise. I think that if you watch all of them, with, say, the exception of Victor Crowley probably being my least favorite, you can find nuggets in there of gold, especially when it comes to the kills. Now, this one is no slouch when it comes to its story and its cast either. I mean, we have the likes of the great Danielle Harris playing Mary Beth in this. Kane Hodder returns, of course, as Victor Crowley, doing a bang-up job in this role just as he did with Jason. I would even say that I prefer him as Victor Crowley in my mind over Jason nowadays. But Tony Todd, Tom Holland, R.A. Milhoff, Leatherface from Chainsaw 3. Let's just go with that. I'm so sorry, and I'm going to get eaten up for that one. But point is, there's a ton of people in this, and they're all great, and there's so many recognizable faces. I'll save a few more for you. But I love Hatchet 2. I think it is an absolute blast of, again, a slasher that takes place in a swamp. You have Victor Crowley out here just slicing and dicing people for an hour and a half, And it's a great way to spend an October night if you're looking for a gore fest. It's funny, it's unique, the kills are very well executed, very well realized. Overall, I don't think you can lose by watching Hatchet 2. And of course, if you haven't seen the first one, absolutely watch it. Make it a double feature, and I promise it'll be a great night. Here we are, folks. It is time to discuss my number one pick for the film you should watch before seeing Terrifier 3 this upcoming weekend. And I had to go with something out of this genre. I had to go with something out of this holiday. And of course, I am going to be talking about 2012's Silent Night. The police force of a remote Midwestern town search for a killer Santa Claus who is picking off citizens on Christmas Eve. When you look into it, I think you'd be surprised when you see just how many killer Santa Claus films there are out there. Beyond the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise, which this is a pseudo remake of, you have the likes of Christmas Bloody Christmas, which was on this list for a while, and so many more. I mean, you could even go back as far as Christmas Evil when you're talking about killer Santa Claus films, and that predates Silent Night, Deadly Night. But I chose this one because not only was this kind of a more recent exploration, a recent dive for me, this being the first time I saw it during December to Dismember Volume 1 2 years ago on this channel, and I fell in love with it. I think as a pseudo remake to Silent Night, Deadly Night, it's a lot of fun. But with Terrifier 3, and we all know that this one is a Christmas film, so we're going to see Art dressed as Santa hacking some people to death, I had to include something. And although I think that Christmas Bloody Christmas could have really landed in this spot, Silent Night is a film that I just feel like nobody talks about. And it's from a director that gets a lot of praise in the horror community with Stephen C. Miller. And I can see why, because I think this movie absolutely slaps. Like, there is so much gore, so much fun to be had with this film. It takes the concept of Silent Night, Deadly Night and adds a layer of mystery, almost making it like a My Bloody Valentine, like a kind of a, we're trying to figure out who this killer Santa Claus is. And although that's not the most intriguing or exciting reveal, I'll admit, it still delivers with all of the guts, gore, and Christmas slasher fun that you'll be looking for. And I think that this is a perfect film to check out before seeing Terrifier 3 for that reason. It's exciting, it's interesting, and it's a little bit different than you'll expect. They actually have a few punches to throw here. So I wholeheartedly recommend that you check out Silent Night from 2012. If not before Terrifier 3, definitely this upcoming Christmas, because if you are a horror fan and a fan of Christmas, I think this one fires on all cylinders and deserves your recognition. Well, folks, that's all I got for you. There's 5 films you should check out before you see Terrifier 3. And yeah, I mean, I am so excited. I cannot believe that we are finally here. It is getting so close. At the time of recording this, we are literally just 1 week away from sitting down and watching this film. I couldn't be more ready. I am so excited and blessed to be sitting down and experiencing another Terrifier film on the big screen. Because, of course, Art's an icon. Terrifier is becoming one of the biggest and best slasher franchises that we've had in a long time. And to be here as a horror fan in the modern day, to sit down and experience it, it is something special. Because, yeah, I wasn't around when Nightmare on Elm Street and the Friday the 13th films and the Halloween films were coming out. Like, I've seen remakes and I've seen reimaginings and ones that delete history of the others, and you get my point, though. This is the first time we've had something so original cross our paths and be able to kind of capture the hearts and minds of horror fans and the general public beyond. So I'm looking forward to it. We will have lots of Terrifier 3 coverage going on this week. And if you haven't been keeping up, we've been doing a little series going over each of the Terrifier films, starting with All Hallows Eve, falling into two, and of course going to be crescendoing with our review of Terrifier 3, which will be later this week. And because I can't say much, might actually be a little earlier than you expect. Christmas may be coming a bit early. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm just going to head out of here, get some more stuff done, maybe get some stuff done around the office, probably not. I have to go make spaghetti. So yeah, that's everything I got, folks. Thank you for sitting down with me again. If you're just finding this channel, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate and love all of the support you guys have been giving us and showing on these videos. It really means so much to me that I can't express it fully, and I just hope that I can find out how to one day, so that way you guys understand what a life-changing and awesome experience this has been. So thank you so much. I won't ramble anymore, and yeah, keep looking at the channel, keep watching videos, and until next time, I'm Dylan Newell, and remember, stay scared.
Do the hard shit, gonna do it live. Cause Splattercast kick it every day they live. Splattercast, gonna smash your ass. 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 Splattercast, gonna smash your ass.